This is going to be taken in two different ways, I think. It's either a half-baked attempt at the Ford Ranger Raptor or a mildly tuned and enhanced version of the SR5, or more accurately, the Rogue HiLux. Either way, it is great that Toyota has finally provided some sort of sporty, enhanced version of the HiLux using the GR name. Let's get stuck into it. Today I'm going to go over the vehicle, we'll go for a drive on the road, on the highway, and we'll hit the dirt as well to see what sort of off-road performance it offers. Starting with the design, it is pretty similar to the current Rogue in that it's got the big pumped out wheel arches. These support a wider track front and rear, so it's 135mm wider at the front and 155mm wider at the back. There's also added ground clearance underneath, 15mm to be exact, to help with off-roading. Also helping with off-road performance are these proper steel rock rail sliders on the side there, double as side steps. And there's a Dakar-inspired front skid plate as well. I love these 17-inch bespoke alloy wheels as well. Just this extra border around the side there, I don't know, it just gives it a real racy look. And they're wrapped in 265/65 Bridgestone Jeweler all-terrain tyres. They're not super chunky sort of mud tyres, but they are designed for off-roading. Aside from that, you've got some black trimmings as per usual with sporty enhanced vehicles, black side mirrors, a black roof as well, window surrounds, and yeah, other little bits and pieces. Got some nice bird poo on the roof there too, just for a bit of extra flavour. And then a bespoke tub liner in the back. Now, I'm not a ute owner or a ute buyer, but I don't know about this join line here that goes all the way around the tub liner there. It's not a one-piece tub liner, in other words. And I can imagine, you know, dirt and muck getting caught up in there, whereas other utes, they have sort of a one-piece tub liner, or even those spray-in ones that just, I don't know, just might seal a bit better, but you tell me. See, look, there's a little leaf cord in it down here too. I'd imagine that if you filled that up with dirt, you'd get all little bits and pieces stuck in the crevices there. I just don't think that's an awesome idea. The tailgate is very heavy as well, and it just slams down. It'd be good to have some sort of damper, or at least a retractable cord or something there just to slow it down a bit. But you know, that's the sort of nature of the HiLux. It's tough, it's rough, and it's just ready for work. You've got these little indented sections here where you can slot in a piece of wood or aluminium there and divide up the bed area, as well as on the wheel arches there. You've also got hooks on all four corners, and a nice little badge complete with a QR code. It still is a workhorse, 3.5 ton towing capacity. There are no major changes in that area. I think that's probably what Toyota wanted to concentrate on. Unlike the Raptor, which, you know, has a lower payload and lower towing capacity than the regular Ranger, I think Toyota wanted to keep its reputation for working. It's a work vehicle. So I don't know if they wanted to stuff around with that sort of stuff. But it does come with bespoke suspension, KYB monotube dampers, and the stabilizer bar has been removed from the rear end to help with sort of flexing off-road and things, so you can get that wheel travel, get the wheel dropping down onto the ground. You've also got red painted brakes, GR Sport branded. I don't think they're actually any better than the standard brakes. I'm pretty sure the standard HiLux has twin piston calipers anyway, but I'll double check that. You've also got some custom springs as well. Overall, in terms of the design, I think it looks good, stands out. It's definitely a Toyota at the front there. You can see the typical, or the current design language front grille. And then it's a working vehicle at the back. It's a bit of a shame that it doesn't come with a full shutter blind over the back tub there, although Toyota does offer a huge array of accessories that you can option up to. And then inside, we've got a bit of a bespoke, just got some crumbs on the seats there, bit of a bespoke interior, GR Sport seats with sort of Alcantara section in the middle there to hold you in. Nicely bolstered, not too much, but just enough to keep you firm and in place during cornering. And then pretty much a standard dashboard, just with a new steering wheel with a center strap there or stripe there on the top. You've also got GR branded rubber floor mats there. In terms of the driving position, I can't quite get perfectly comfortable. Like a lot of utes, I think the Ford Ranger is probably the best for my sort of dimensions anyway. I'm 170 centimeters. Whereas this, yeah, just the steering wheel moves up and down and in and out, but it just needs to pull out a little bit more, in my opinion, just so I can get a bit more comfortable. And the steering wheel is sort of slanted on a bit of an angle. But yeah, you get used to these types of things. I just mean that it's not exactly perfect compared with some of the rivals out there. There is a lot of hard, scratchy plastics around the place, but they feel tough, like it's got some fake stitching there. It's just complete plastic. But it all feels very strong. So I won't say it's complete scratchy, cheapo plastic. It definitely does feel very strong, but yeah, there is just a lot of it, including around the door trims there, all around the speaker, all up along here, and even more fake stitching along the top of the trim there as well, even though that's all one-piece plastic. It does have a JBL sound system, which is very good, produces good sounds. And it's also got this carbon fiber style trim just to divide it up a bit. I'll start it up because it is getting very, very hot in here. It's a pretty warm day today. It is pretty basic, although I do admire that Toyota has just stuck with analog dials rather than switch to a fully digital screen. You do have a little screen in the middle there that you can toggle through different options to look at, your trip information and so on. Averaging 10 litres per 100 kilometres, or 9.9, which is pretty average for this style of vehicle. You've also got the digital speedo. This touchscreen is pretty new, although it's still got these sort of chrome buttons around the side, which were from a Toyota Corolla about 5 or 6 years ago, I think. I like that it does have a volume button there. I do like having these separate buttons around there too, because you can just jump straight to different features. There's audio and the menu and so on. It does have digital radio and sat nav. And then down below you've got more buttons for the climate controls. All of them are just there, so you don't have to worry about digging into this screen. If you want climate, or you want to change this climate settings, here it all is here. And you've got your drive modes there, your dual range, and some charging options, trailer, brake control, heated seats for this model, and then your rear diff lock and hill descent control. Twin cup holders. It's all plastic, which is a little bit disappointing. Well, this comes with a free pen as well. And then you've got another little tray down here. Again, it's all plastic lined. It'd be nice if there was a bit of rubber. Just lay it on the bottom there, even if it was removable. Passenger space is good. I've got no problem with headroom or legroom. It feels pretty spacious and open and airy. It does come with dual glove boxes, including an upper level box that you can jam your gym clothes into. You've also got bottle holders in the doors, although they're not that big. And then you've got a center console box as well. In the back, we've got dual climate vents. No charging ports, unfortunately, but you do have these little hooks that you can hang your shopping on so it doesn't bounce around everywhere. You've got this full length rubber floor mat, fully molded, goes across the middle. This does feature the annoying center hook there for the top tether baby seat anchorage. So you've got to hook it through this, or feed it through this strap, and then it goes over to that hook there. It's just a little bit fiddly compared with, you know, tilting this whole seat forward and having a separate hook down under the seat. Decent step to get up, understandably, but once you're in, it's pretty comfortable. I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable in this class. I definitely feel like I'm higher up than the front seats, which is kind of good, especially if you've got kids. You know, they might feel a bit claustrophobic if they're hunkered down into a back seat. This definitely feels very high, and I've got a low window sill there, so I can easily see over that. Even if I was heaps shorter or a little kid or something like that, I'd still see over there and not feel like I'm sitting in the back of a coupe. You do have a center armrest with cup holders just for extra convenience, and some grab handles and hooks on the ceiling there that I haven't noticed before, but you could hang your business shirt or something up against those, I guess, or up on those. All right, we'll go for a drive now. We'll start with a twisty mountain road type of scenario and see how it handles. I know this is not meant for on-road handling, but I just want to see how it compares with other utes in this class, specifically these sort of enhanced utes like my opinion, this goes up against vehicles like the Ranger Wildtrak X rather than the Ranger Raptor. The Raptor is, you know, like a bit more of a performance beast, whereas this is not trying to be extremely fast or anything like that. It does have a tuned up engine, which I'll get to in a second, but it's not at the level of the Raptor. So I think it goes up against the Wildtrak X, Navara, Warrior, and even the Mazda BT50 Pro, and vehicles like that. Then again, you could say it's a competitor to the Raptor as well, because if you walked into a Ford dealership and said, I want the most expensive Ranger, they'll give you the Raptor. If you walk into a Toyota dealership and say, I want the most expensive HiLux, this is what you'll get. So they kind of can be compared, I guess, although on paper, yeah, they don't really even up. Firstly, yes, the rear end is pretty firm. This is made for carrying stuff. So those leaf springs at the back are not designed for comfort, but if you do load it up, it is a bit more comfortable, and you'll see that they start to make sense. But if you're buying this thinking that it's going to be a nice, comfortable luxury family car, then yeah, you need to reassess your priorities, because this is not super comfortable. It's probably in the middle of the pack in terms of other utes in this class. In terms of rear end comfort, I still think the Ford Ranger is probably the most comfortable in terms of having leaf springs. I have noticed that the new suspension setup does cope quite well when you start attacking some bumps and things. Along this road, it's not the smoothest road at all, but I do like it for testing vehicles, because it causes, or you can uncover any issues pretty quickly. But in this, you can attack the bumps with reasonable confidence, and the wheels don't bounce around or skip as much as they might in a standard setup. I do notice there is some premature tire squealing going on. I'm guessing that's because of the geometry. The suspension geometry has been set up more for off-roading and carrying things, so it just might cause the tires to just scrub a little bit earlier. But it does come with the all-terrain tires. But even so, I've driven other utes that have all-terrain tires and they don't start squealing as early as this. It could be subject to this test car though. It might need a wheel alignment. It has had some rough testing before I've had it, so yeah, you just never know with each specific vehicle. Down through here, yep, a lot of bumps and little corrugations that you probably can't see or feel on camera, but it seems to be handling them quite well. I feel confident that the vehicle is planted on the road. In terms of handling, I don't think the HiLux is a game changer, but it is near the top, whereas this does feel like a bit of a truck. The steering is normal steering. It's not overly communicative or sporty feeling at all. It just feels normal. It doesn't do anything wrong, but it doesn't really feel super engaging. But the handling is quite good. The front end, you know, some utes you'll go around corners and the front corner will, you know, drop right down in terms of like body roll and lean, whereas this remains pretty flat and stable. Yeah, like I could drive this along a nice touring trip and some mountain roads and things and have a bit of fun, although it's not as fun as some of the other utes, particularly that Ranger Raptor, if you want to compare it against that. But it does the job. Just before we hit the highway, I want to talk a little bit about this engine. Now, this is quite interesting in my opinion, because Toyota historically doesn't make little tunes and tweaks to its engines. It usually engineers them from the start and then leaves them that way for, you know, almost a decade or more in some cases. So for Toyota to actually make some little tuning tweaks to this, it's a bit of a bold move in my opinion from Toyota. Other brands have done this and has been totally fine, but yeah, just in terms of Toyota, they're usually very conservative with that sort of thing. But I kind of respect that, because it's like they engineer it or even over-engineer it from the start, and it stays that way, and they know that will last. It might not be the most powerful in its class, might not be the most efficient in its class, but it's a very mild tune and a mild setup, so it can last. So with this version, I would be interested to see how they go in 10 years time. I think they'll be totally fine because it is such a mild upgrade. You've got 165 kilowatts up from 150 and 550 Newton meters up from 500. Those figures don't really set the class on fire, but if you stack it up against the other diesel 4-cylinders, yeah, it is the most powerful 4-cylinder diesel in its class, which is it's a pretty impressive feat for a Toyota. Of course, Toyota could do a proper GR version and chuck the 3.4 litre twin turbo V6 petrol engine in from the Lexus LS 500, or is it called the 600, and chuck that in there. It's 300 kilowatts or something, if they wanted to, but I suspect that might be a separate model, Toyota GR HiLux rather than GR Sport. GR Sport is usually just cosmetic tweaking and suspension tweaking. So for this to have an upgraded engine is already a bit of a bonus, just in terms of what they have done before. Now I've just got the air conditioning off because I want to show you the quietness of the engine. From what I remember, the Toyota hasn't been the most quiet diesel 4-cylinder, but it's been pretty good. So I've got the aircon off and I'll just be quiet for a minute. So it's hovering around that 45 decibel mark, which is not too bad for a 4-cylinder diesel. I'm just going to turn the aircon back on again because I'm starting to sweat. That's not too bad. Most diesels are around the 50 decibel mark in my experience. So for that to be 45 is quite good. You can notice the difference with this tuned engine, mainly in the low end, in my opinion anyway. Like, you just need to push the accelerator just a little bit, and you can feel that, you know, 550 Newton meters of torque really pushing you along. In the top end, it just sort of roars and moans a bit, just like the normal one. If you're considering the GR Sport because you're after a performance option and you want something that's quick, you might be a bit disappointed by this. It's not quick, it does just fine, but it's not a performance machine in my opinion, in terms of acceleration. Along a country road like this, you can feel it sort of juddering about, but that engine does provide good response. So you can come around a corner like this, apply just a little bit of throttle, and it will pick up straight away. Out on the highway, it cruises just fine. It's requiring 2,000 RPM to maintain 110 kilometers an hour. And yeah, it's pretty quiet. It just has a very mild clatter in the background, a typical diesel clatter, but it's sort of muffled, like a bucket of bolts has been sloshed around in water. It's, yeah, you can tell it's a diesel, but it's not intrusive to the cabin environment. Acceleration from this speed is not the best, such as overtaking, which is pretty typical of a diesel 4-cylinder ute like this. So I'll just floor it. And it picks up speed. You can see the speedo there moving reasonably quickly so I can get in front of other cars. Hit that power button though, and it does feel sportier for sure. You don't need to move the pedal much at all and it will start picking up straight away. Doesn't mean that it produces more power with it than without it, but it feels like it does, and it definitely has better response low down. Visibility is good out the front here. I can see easily, and out the back is also quite good. Although if you do have that center seat headrest popped up, it does take up a bit of room like it does in pretty much any vehicle. But yeah, I can see beside that A-pillar, above the side mirror, and it's a nice big side mirror too. It does have blind spot warning, so if I go to indicate, that little light will flash in the corner there and tell me that there's a vehicle too close. It's probably not a good idea. This does come with lane keep assist. It's just this little button here, so you can turn it off very easily. But it also features a unique lane departure warning system. It's called Your Assist, as you can see. So I've got it on there, and what happens if you get close to the line, it'll use braking to try and pivot the car around. So just then it grabbed the inside rear wheel to try and pivot the vehicle, but there's no actual steering change. There's no steering input there. I've gone too far now, but there's no tug at the steering wheel, which is a different way of doing it. It's a bit more gentle, I suppose. Yeah, you can feel that, and you can actually hear the relay coming on there for the rear brakes. You've also got sway warning and sway sensitivity, so you can adjust all those sorts of settings if you want to. Onto the dirt now. There are no sort of driving modes like gravel mode and snow mode and all that. You've just got your high and low range and, high and low range and H4. It doesn't have a on-road all-wheel drive mode like some rivals, like the Mitsubishi Triton and the Ford Ranger with its 4A, for automatic. You've only got, rear-wheel drive, or if you put it into H, it kind of locks the front and rear, so you can't really drive on the road. I mean, you can, but you might break something. That's definitely not advisable. I'll just leave it in rear-wheel drive for the start here. We're going to encounter some corrugations, and I like driving over these in these SUVs and utes just to see how they handle. Some do quite well, some don't, like the GWM tank. It was very smooth and comfortable, but the wheels sort of skipped along and even skipped a few of the little undulations, little corrugations. And yeah, you kind of not lost steering, but yeah, look at that. It's not even doing anything. It's just staying very, very stable and planted. And that's what you're paying for with these heavy-duty dual cab utes and SUVs. You're paying for ruggedness, and when you need to use them in rugged areas, that's when they really shine. So it might be a bit uncomfortable on the road, but you know, load them up or hit the dirt and they start to make a lot of sense. This is driving along quite nicely on the dirt road. I feel like I've got full control. I can even make some swervy maneuvers, and it still feels planted, and hit the brakes. Decent ABS. Yeah, it pulled up quite well for something that's on the dirt. Full throttle. It's spinning a little bit. The traction control is coming on just a little bit. Remembering I'm in rear-wheel drive mode still. As we've done in other four-wheel drive tests, I'm just going to do a little loop around here. It's pretty rugged. It's definitely not serious, but I think it's a good test as a benchmark. You know, if you're marketing a vehicle to be an off-road capable vehicle, it should be able to go around here because it's pretty mild. But also, I'm not much of a 4x4 kind of guy. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just going to admit it. I'm just reasonable driver, but I'm not good at placing the wheels and things in really technical situations, so I don't want to cause damage to the vehicles, and I'm not getting the most out of it anyway, so I don't know I'm not showing you that it's full potential. But we'll see how it goes around here anyway. Bit of wheel spin over the crest. Little bit of rev hang going on there. I don't know what was happening there, but so this is very bumpy through here. I'm just going to maintain this speed just to see how the suspension handles. Very good. Yep, so this is absorbing those very harsh bumps really well. Got a little bit of a mud bogger situation down here. Might put it into 4H. It's not too bad. Like it's not very deep, although I haven't been down here for about 2 weeks, so it could change over time, just with erosion and rain and so on. We have had some rain in the recent couple of weeks. Put it into four-wheel drive just in case, and I'll turn the traction off just so it doesn't bog down in the hole. Not a problem at all. It didn't even scrub the bottom. Some of them do just sort of nudge the bottom, but that didn't at all. Again, this is a very bumpy surface, but the suspension is coping really well. So some utes and four-wheel drives really judder and bang and crash along here, whereas this is nice and taut, but it's remaining very compliant, as in the wheels feel like they're planted on the road. On the ground as much as possible. Here we've got a little bit of a steep incline. I'll go over this side and we'll hit this, a bit of a ditch here. Put the wheel in there on purpose. There's another one up here. Not even a challenge at all. Little crest. There's another little ditch down here. Some of this stuff doesn't look as bad on camera as it is in real life. Just the way the camera works. I don't know why it does that, but even steepness, you know, that probably didn't look like a hill at all, whereas it is quite steep. Like you really need to prepare and lean forward when you're walking up it. I've got another little mud bogger situation down here we'll go through, and some vehicles have scrubbed the diff going through just because I put both wheels inside the rut, which is, you know, that's not the ideal position for the wheels if you're actually doing some touring, but I'm putting it into a difficult spot on purpose just to see how it handles. Again, over these bumps, yeah, it remains very solid and sure-footed. So here we've got quite a deep little rut. Doesn't have much water in it today, but we'll listen out for any scraping. I think the front end just nicked that skid plate. Yep, again, just hit it. But it didn't hit the diff as far as I can feel. It just went straight through. But yeah, definitely no challenge at all. It just, yeah, you could do that in rear wheel drive pretty much. So we'll go back the other way and I'll go down that steep section and we'll test out the hill descent control. Just then I'm turning around, I've still got it in H4, and you get a sense of that tension, the front and rear locked together as you try and turn. You can hear it sort of like a locker on a street machine. Oh, there, so you just got your steering angle, and I'll show you where the wheels are pointing, because sometimes you might have people spotting you and letting you know where to go, and you're getting in and out and so on, and you forget where the wheels are. So that little display there tells you where your wheels are before you hit the accelerator. You know, you might end up in an embankment or something like that. We'll go back through this way and we'll have a listen. No scraping so far. Just scraped the front skid plate, just. Very good. I think that extra 15 millimeters of ground clearance helps if you're interested in doing some serious off-roading. But if you're really serious, you know, you might put bigger tires on there, and that might provide a bit more clearance again. In fact, you probably would. These tires, they're good for all-round touring and things, but if you're after some serious mud ripping grip, then yeah, you might want to put some thicker tires on there, or some bigger, taller tires, or even skinnier tires if you want to go on the sand and so on. I think they suggest skinnier tires are the best for that sort of situation. Again, I'm no four-wheel drive guy, but yeah, you might modify it. Okay, so hill descent control. Little symbol comes up on the dash, and what do we do here? Feet off the pedals, and it is controlling some speed. We've got some kangaroos jumping across the track. But yeah, that's maintaining the speed for me. Very controlled and stable. Then when you're finished, you can just apply throttle and it will drive out of there. Back through this, and it does get steep at the end, so we'll listen out for any scrubbing at the end. Nothing. Easy. We'll turn the stability control completely off by holding it down for a good 3 seconds. You get both lights on the dash, and we'll put it back into rear-wheel drive and see if we can have some fun. Just gotta watch out for those kangaroos. Seems to hook up pretty good at the back without the diff lock engaged. Actually, we'll just see if you can, because I know you can in the Ranger. Put it into park and see if the diff lock will engage. No, it won't let me do that. So this is with traction and stability off in rear wheel drive, and it's just walking up here with no problem whatsoever. It does hook up both wheels even without the diff lock, so you've got decent traction there. There's not really that much down that way, but we've got some bumps and things we can go down here. Yeah, I think that suspension is definitely really good when you start getting into the rough stuff. It seems to absorb bigger impacts really well without yeah, just crashing around. It's very absorbent and just catches the bumps. There we have it, the Toyota HiLux GR Sport. I've had a lot of fun in this today. It's proven itself as it usually does. The HiLux, it just goes everywhere. It does everything really well. It doesn't really excel in any particular area. You might be a bit disappointed if you're looking for a performance machine with the GR Sport badge, but just keep in mind, GR Sport is not the full-blown GR. So I don't know, I haven't really heard anything officially that Toyota will introduce a GR HiLux, like a bespoke high-performance GR HiLux, to really go up against the Ranger Raptor. But for now, this is a good all-rounder. Is it the best new ute on the market? Professionally speaking, I think the Ranger is the best. It just does everything so well. It's got a great touchscreen, great technology, big variety of engines and trim levels, drive modes and all that sort of thing. It's comfortable, it handles really well on the road, and it has excellent off-road performance. What would I buy personally? I'd probably just buy a HiLux. I don't know why, I just come back to these things every time. I just love the reputation, the reliability, and I love that Toyota doesn't push too hard. It just does what it can. I like that this has just got 15 more kilowatts, just a little tweak. Very unusual for Toyota to do that, so I'm grateful that they did do something in that area. Yeah, you just know this is going to stand the test of time. It handled everything we threw at it today really well, and it's not even trying, as I said, so that's what I think I like about it the most. Anyway, let's go and do the performance testing now and see what it goes like.